What's going on, guys? TKD1 video, and today I want to talk about an artist that I've been really into. If you guys have seen the channel, especially yesterday's video of my review on this guy's album, and this guy has been a long, really, kind of rising up to the ranks, if you will. He is pretty big right now. He's actually really big, and he goes by the name of Travis Scott. And today I'll be doing a music history episode on some facts over Travis Scott. Now, Scott and music have been going hand in hand ever since he was a little kid, and this started at the age of 3 when he got a drum set and he started playing the drums. Now, he played the drums for a majority of his life, and then he went to piano a few years later, and that was his main thing until 2012, where he told Complex in an interview that he kind of gave up piano, and he gave up piano because it wasn't getting him any girls, it wasn't getting him bitches. That's what he literally said. He said piano was not getting bitches, which is kind of weird because you would assume that the piano, is really the instrument you want to go towards. If you're trying to get girls mainly, right? I feel like the piano is a pretty safe bet. I feel like that's a pretty safe thing to say, that the majority of girls like piano players. But he said no, it wasn't working out. Who knows what his skills ever? But he said that making beats was what was getting girls. Making that electronic music, making the beat that he makes today was definitely getting girls, and that was where he found success. So wait, if I guess in today's day and age, I guess piano isn't really that big of a deal. I always thought it was. I always thought even today it was a big deal. But apparently, getting the A track and getting beats going and making that electronic music and making that hip hop is exactly how to get hoes, according to Travis Scott. Going on to track number 2 here is that one of the biggest artists right now, especially in the news right now, and especially with things with Drake and him having a Facebook post, is Kid Cudi. And actually, Kid Cudi is one of Travis Scott's greatest artists to listen to, and if not, it is one of his favorite artists as well. Travis Scott loves Kid Cudi so much that he wouldn't mind going on tour with him for free without compensation. He would just wants to do it and be in the experience of touring with Kid Cudi. He says that he's one of the most realest rappers alive right now, and he has a quote certain edge to his music, which is something that I can say, okay, that makes sense, right? Totally 100%. Kid Cudi, not really, if we talk about his latest albums, we'll kind of get us we there, but previous, back in 2011, 2012, Kid Cudi was definitely at that top pinnacle. And there's actually a story that Travis Scott has where he actually cried the first time that he met Kid Cudi, and it wasn't on the first appearance. It was when Kid Cudi took him in the ride in his car, and they were playing some new tracks from Kid Cudi that I've never heard of before, and Travis Scott just taking the moment of being in the car with one of his idols in music and hearing new music, straight from Kid Cudi. It was just something that he, just broke down, and it was just something that, really made him break down in emotion. And he actually cried, during that time. So that's something big, man. That's a really big thing, because it's really, rare to kind of see an artist right now be so, and give such a high standard and give such a high praise to somebody that's right now. Usually we get the obvious ones here in the series. We get Prince, we got Michael Jackson, we get all the OGs, Tupac, we get all of them that, right now artists look to. But it is really weird, not weird, but, really awesome to kind of see someone, that is in music right now look up to somebody that is in music right now. While researching Travis Scott, you kind of get, an overall tone that he is a sacrificer. He sacrifices a lot of things for music. He does a lot of things for the things that he wants to do, and all that good stuff. So there's one story that I found that he actually sacrificed his bed. I guess back in high school, he had a limited amount of space to build a studio, right, at his crib. So rather than have to give up having a studio, because obviously he wanted a studio, he gave up his bed. He actually just said, no, I don't want a bed, and he, used the space he used the space that the bed was in to actually make the studio, and he said that he slept in a chair for years on end. That is crazy. I cannot sleep in this. Listen, I love this chair, right? I want to get a new one, actually. I think I get a new one. But, this chair is alright. I would not sleep in this chair to make videos. Absolutely not. That's not, no. Another thing, that is a good thing about him and his dedication to music is that the first time he went to London for the first time back in 2013. And rather than do the obvious things that person would do going into a new continent, actually, a new country, you will want to sightsee. You want to see, what's poppin', see how London is like, live like a London native, Londoner, whatever. However, he didn't do any of those things. He took the first 2 days and went straight to the studio and was just making music and working on music. And that is something that, if there's a brave new world in front of me, a brave new world outside, and I'm stuck in a place doing the same thing I do back home, I'm gonna be kind of pissed. But Travis Scott did it for the dedication of his music and the love for his craft. Believe it or not, it was a struggle for Travis Scott's family to get behind him wanting to be in the music industry, and this is kind of a weird thing to see because we'll talk about it later in the fact zone. There were a lot of times where Travis Scott back in the day, he'd be telling his parents, hey listen, I want to aspire to be in the music industry, I want to be a musician, I want to make music, and they would tell him no, bad idea, don't do it, But what was ironic about this whole thing was that his father was a musician. He was a drummer, he played more of that 1980s R&B music, stuff like that, and that was mainly his forte, and he was a musician. And for to have your son say that you want to follow the footsteps of yourself as a father, and to say no, that's kind of weird in my opinion, but that's just what it was. Who knows if it was just because of he maybe didn't find that much success in music, or whatever it could have been. And that not only was his father a musician, his grandfather was as well. He says that that's where he gets his whole love and aspiration for music, is from those two individuals in his life. And go on to the last fact over here is that, speaking of his grandfather, this is actually where he got his name. Travis Scott is obviously not Travis Scott's real name. A lot of people go behind the moniker, by a fake name, but actually, Travis Scott's real name is Jaquez Webster. So obviously, he didn't want to use his real name, so he came up with Travis Scott. And the reason why he came up with Travis Scott was that his uncle's name was Travis, and he had a unwavering love for his uncle. He loved his uncle so much. He says that it was his favorite relative growing up, and there's a lot of reasons why he says, but mainly because he had swag. He was cool, he played golf, he was just a chill guy, and he loved his uncle Travis. He also says that his uncle was smart, he made a bunch of good decisions, smart decisions, and all that good stuff. So clearly, Travis Scott was heavily influenced by his uncle, and it even went into him naming himself as a musician. And now, that's all we got for today's episode. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you like, subscribe, share, all the links down below. And thank you guys for watching, and as always, I got you.